Imagine waking up every morning with your body already burning fat before you've even had breakfast. No counting calories, no insulin roller coaster, just your biology doing what it's been designed to do for thousands of years. But that modern life has almost completely shut down. Millions of people are told they need to manage their blood sugar. They're checking glucose monitors, cutting carbs, obsessing over glycemic indexes. And sure, that helps. But here's what nobody's talking about. Every single time you eat, even if it's something healthy, you're triggering an insulin response. And insulin? It's not just moving sugar around. It's locking the doors to your fat stores, cranking up inflammation, and quietly aging your cells faster than time itself. Most people think blood sugar control is about what you eat, but they're missing the bigger picture. It's not just about the food, it's about the timing. Your body has two modes, building and cleaning. Eating keeps you stuck in building mode 24/7. And when you're always building, you're never cleaning. That means damaged proteins pile up. Insulin receptors get numb. Your pancreas works overtime until it just breaks. Right now, as you're watching this, your cells might be drowning in glucose they can't process. Your mitochondria, those tiny power plants inside every cell, they're suffocating. And the worst part, you probably feel fine. That's the trap. Blood sugar issues don't scream at you, they whisper, until one day you're pre-diabetic, then diabetic, then dealing with nerve damage, vision problems, and a body that's aged 20 years faster than it should have. But here's the real twist. What happens in the first 12 hours of daily fasting might completely rewire how your body handles sugar, not just for the day, but potentially for life. And the science behind it? It's so elegant, so powerful, that once you understand it, you'll never look at breakfast the same way again. So, what actually happens when you start fasting every day? Let's start with the first 24 hours, because that's where everything changes. Let's be real. The first few days aren't glamorous. You're probably going to feel hungry. Not just I could eat hungry, but that gnawing, irritable, why am I doing this to myself kind of hungry. You might get headaches, brain fog, maybe even feel a little shaky. And here's why that's actually a good sign. Your body is in withdrawal, not from drugs, from constant glucose. For years, maybe decades, you've been feeding your body every few hours. Your cells have become lazy. They've forgotten how to access your fat stores because they've never had to. Glucose has always been available, so your metabolic machinery has rusted. That discomfort you're feeling, that's the rust breaking off. That's your metabolism waking up from a long, insulin-induced nap. Here's what's happening at the cellular level. When you eat, your blood sugar spikes. Your pancreas releases insulin, which is like a key that unlocks your cells so glucose can get in. But when insulin is high, which it is every time you eat, your body can't burn fat. It's biologically impossible. Insulin tells your body, we have fresh fuel, don't touch the reserves. Think of your body like a hybrid car with two fuel tanks, one for sugar, one for fat. Most people spend their entire lives running on the sugar tank, refilling it every few hours, never once tapping into the fat tank. Daily fasting forces your body to switch tanks, and at first, the transition feels rough because the switch is rusty, but once it flips, something remarkable happens. Around hour 12 to 16 of not eating, your insulin drops low enough that your body starts producing enzymes to break down fat. This is called flipping the metabolic switch. Your liver starts converting stored fat into ketones. These are like premium fuel for your brain and body. And here's the kicker. Ketones don't spike your blood sugar. They burn clean. No insulin required. Research from Johns Hopkins and the National Institute on Aging has shown that intermittent fasting doesn't just lower blood sugar, it actually makes your cells more sensitive to insulin. It's like cleaning the locks so the keys work better. One study published in Cell Metabolism found that participants who did daily 16-hour fasts saw their fasting insulin levels drop by up to 31% in just 8 weeks. That's not managing diabetes. That's reversing the root cause. But this is just the beginning. Because once your body adapts to this daily rhythm, something even more profound starts happening at the cellular level. something that goes way beyond blood sugar. By week 2 or 3, something strange happens. Instead of feeling weaker or more deprived, you start waking up with a clarity you haven't felt in years. Your energy doesn't crash at 3 p.m. anymore. Your sugar cravings, they just disappear. And you realize you're not fighting your biology anymore. You're working with it. Here's the paradox that blows most people's minds. By eating less frequently, you actually feel more energized. How? Because your body stops wasting energy on constant digestion and insulin management. Every time you eat, about 30% of your energy goes toward breaking down food. When you fast, that energy gets redirected to your brain, to cellular repair, to actually living. But the real magic happens at the cellular level, and it's called autophagy. The word literally means self-eating, and it sounds scary, but it's actually the most important anti-aging, blood sugar stabilizing process your body can do. Here's the simple version. Every day, your cells accumulate garbage, damaged proteins, malfunctioning mitochondria, broken down insulin receptors that can't do their job anymore. In a fed state, your body doesn't have time to clean this up. It's too busy processing new food. But when you fast for 12, 14, 16 hours or more, your cells flip into cleanup mode. Think of it like this. Imagine your house never had a cleaning day. Dishes pile up, trash overflows, the place becomes unlivable. That's what happens to your cells when you never stop eating. Autophagy is like finally hiring a cleaning crew that comes in, throws out the broken furniture, scrubs the floors, and makes everything functional again. And the insulin receptors, they get polished and start working like new. That's why your blood sugar stabilizes, not just because you're eating less, but because your cells are literally being rebuilt. After a few weeks of daily fasting, your fasting glucose levels start to drop. But more importantly, your glucose variability, those spikes and crashes throughout the day, they flatten out. Your body becomes a stable, efficient machine. Studies show that people who practice intermittent fasting see their HbA1c, that's a 3-month average of blood sugar, improve by 0.5 to 1.5 points. For context, that's the difference between pre-diabetic and normal. That's massive, and it's not just about insulin. Daily fasting triggers a cascade of hormonal changes. Human growth hormone can increase by up to 500% during fasting periods. This helps preserve muscle while burning fat. Norepinephrine rises, which ramps up fat burning. Even your brain starts producing more BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which literally grows new brain cells and protects against cognitive decline. Let me ask you something. Have you ever tried fasting, even just skipping breakfast? If yes, drop a comment and tell me, did you feel that initial hunger, or did you feel surprisingly clear-headed? And if you haven't tried it, what's holding you back? Let's talk in the comments because I read every single one. People who stick with daily fasting for a month report something almost spiritual. They say food stops controlling them. They're not slaves to the clock anymore. And their relationship with eating completely transforms. It becomes a choice, not a compulsion. Now, you might be thinking, okay, blood sugar and autophagy sound great, but what else happens? Buckle up, because the side effects of daily fasting are not what you'd expect. Here's where it gets wild. People start fasting to fix their blood sugar, but then they notice their skin clears up. Their chronic inflammation, the kind that causes joint pain, brain fog, and that puffy feeling, it just melts away. Why? Because insulin isn't just a sugar-regulating hormone. It's a growth hormone. And constant insulin means constant inflammation. When you give your body a daily break from insulin, inflammation drops like a rock. Then there's mental clarity. Ketones, remember, are brain fuel, and they're better fuel than glucose. They produce fewer free radicals, they stabilize energy, and they actually protect neurons. People report feeling like a fog has lifted. Creativity surges, focus sharpens. Some even say it feels like their IQ jumped 10 points. And let's talk about longevity. There's a reason every major religion has fasting built into it. Our ancestors knew something we forgot. Fasting activates genes associated with longevity, including sirtuins and AMPK pathways. These are the same pathways that get activated during caloric restriction, which is the only scientifically proven way to extend lifespan in nearly every organism studied. You're not just controlling blood sugar, you're slowing down aging itself. Let's tackle the elephant in the room. People freak out thinking fasting means muscle loss. Here's the truth. Short-term fasting, 12 to 18 hours daily, does not cause muscle loss. In fact, because growth hormone spikes during fasting, your body becomes better at preserving muscle. Your body isn't stupid. It's not going to burn muscle for fuel when you have tens of thousands of calories stored as fat. That's literally what fat is for. The key is protein intake during your eating window and resistance training. If you're lifting weights and eating adequate protein, your muscles are protected. Some studies even show people gain lean mass while fasting because insulin sensitivity improves and nutrient partitioning gets better. Your body becomes more efficient at using protein to build muscle instead of converting excess glucose to fat. Another fear: won't my blood sugar crash? Won't I go into starvation mode? No, starvation mode is a myth in the context of daily 12 to 16-hour fasts. Your body has more than enough stored energy to last days, even weeks. What you're doing is training your body to access that energy efficiently. As for blood sugar crashes, those happen because of insulin dysfunction, not fasting. Fasting actually stabilizes blood sugar by reducing insulin resistance. The crashes people fear are withdrawal symptoms from being a sugar burner. Once you become fat adapted, your blood sugar stays rock solid because you're running on fat and ketones, which provide steady energy without the spikes and drops. So we've covered what happens in the first month. But here's the real question: what happens if you make this a lifestyle? What does this mean for your future? Here's the truth. Most health content won't tell you. Daily fasting isn't a 30-day challenge. It's a biological rhythm your body was designed for. For 99% of human history, we didn't have 3 meals a day plus snacks. We had periods of eating and periods of not eating. Your genes are coded for this. And when you align your eating pattern with your evolutionary blueprint, everything just works. Long-term, daily fasting doesn't just control blood sugar, it rewrites your metabolic destiny. People who maintain intermittent fasting for years report stable energy, maintained weight loss, reduced inflammation markers, and a dramatically lower risk of metabolic diseases. We're talking about cutting your risk of type 2 diabetes by 30 to 50%, reducing heart disease risk, and potentially adding years to your health span, not just lifespan, but years where you're actually vibrant and functional. But beyond the biology, there's a psychological transformation. You stop being a slave to food. You realize hunger is just a signal, not an emergency. You regain control over one of the most primal parts of being human: when and how you nourish yourself. And that sense of control ripples out into every other area of your life. Discipline in eating becomes discipline in work, relationships, and personal growth. And here's a line that will stick with you: moderation protects, elimination heals. You can moderate your sugar intake, sure, but if you want true metabolic healing, if you want to reverse insulin resistance and restore your cells to their factory settings, you need to eliminate the constant barrage. You need to give your body space to breathe, to clean, to heal. Now, I'm not saying you need to fast 20 hours a day for the rest of your life. The beauty of daily intermittent fasting is flexibility. Most people thrive on a 16-8 or 14-10 schedule: 16 hours fasting, 8 hours eating. That could be as simple as skipping breakfast and eating lunch and dinner, or skipping dinner and eating breakfast and lunch. Find what fits your life. The key is consistency, not perfection. If this video opened your eyes to what's possible, do me a favor. Hit that like button so more people can see this. Subscribe if you want more deep dives into the science of health and performance, because this channel is all about giving you the knowledge to take control of your biology, not just manage symptoms. And here's the big one: Share this video with someone who's struggling with blood sugar, energy crashes, or weight. This information could literally change their life. One share could save someone from years of metabolic decline. Your body is incredible. It's resilient, and it's waiting for you to stop fighting it and start working with it. So take that first step. Your future self is watching. Don't let them down.